The Mongol Empire was founded by Genghis Khan, first great Khan or universal ruler of the Mongol people. Genghis Khan forced the empire by uniting nomadic tribes of the Asian steppe and creating a devastatingly effective army with the fast, light and highly coordinated cavalry. Eventually, the empire dominated Asia from the Black Sea to the Korean Peninsula. Expert horsemen and archers, the Mongols proved unstoppable in Central Asia and beyond, defeating armies in Iran, Russia, Eastern Europe, China, and many other places. The descendants of Genghis each ruled a part of the empire, the four Khanates, the most powerful of which was the Mongol Yuan dynasty in China, established by Kublai Khan. Eventually, the Mongols became part of the sedentary society they had so easily overwhelmed, and many converted from traditional shamanism to Tibetan Buddhism or Islam. This was a general symptom of the Mongols not only losing part of their cultural identity but also too far their famed military prowess, as the four Khanates all succumbed to damaging dynastic disputes and the armies of their rivals. Although not famed for creating any lasting architectural wonders or political institutions, the Mongols did make this significant contribution to world culture of finally connecting the eastern and western worlds via expanded trade routes, diplomatic embassies, and the movement of missionaries and travels from Eurasia to Far East. The Mongols were like nomads of the Asia steppe who herded sheep, goats, horses, camels, and yaks. These tribes moved according to the seasons and lived in temporary camps of circular felt tents or yurts. The climate of Mongolia is often very harsh, and reflecting this, clothing was warm, durable, and practical. Felt from sheep's wool and animal fur were the common material to make clothing, which was remarkably similar for both men and women. Heelless boots, baggy trousers, a long jacket worn with a leather belt, and a conical hat with ear flaps, while underclothes were made from cotton or silk. The Mongol diet was mostly dairy-based, with the cheese, yogurt, butter, and dried milk curds being staples. A mildly alcoholic drink, kumis, was made from mare's milk, which was often drunk to excess. The herds being too vulnerable as a sustainable source of milk, wool, and even during dung for fuel. Meat was typically acquired through hunting, and wild fruits and vegetables were gathered through foraging. To stock up for winter and provide meat for special feasts such as the irregular tribal gatherings, special hunts were organized. At these events, a strategy known as the Nurge was employed, where riders encompassed a huge area of steppe and slowly drove the game, anything from marmots to wolves, into an ever smaller area where they could be more easily killed by mounted archers. The techniques, organization, and discipline of the Nurge would serve the Mongols well when they went to war. Most of these features of medieval daily life in the Mongol world are still continued today by the nomads across Asia. Although nomadic life generally saw men do the hunting and women do the cooking, the division of labor was not always so clear, and often both the sexes could perform the task of the other, including using a bow and riding. Women tended animals, set up and packed away camps, drove the tribes wagons, looked after the children, prepared foodstuffs, and entertained guests. Women had rather more rights than in most other contemporary Asian cultures, and could both own and inherit property. Several women even ruled as regents in the spans between the reigns of great Khans. The Mongols' religion had no sacred text or particular ceremonies, but was rather a mix of animism, ancestry worship, and shamanism. Instances of the elements of fire, earth, and water, impressive geographical sites like mountains, and natural phenomena such as storms were considered to possess spirits. Shamans who could be both a man and woman were thought able to, in a state of trance, communicate with the spirits and travel in the world, helping to find lost souls and divine future events. Other religions were present amongst the Mongols, which are the Christians, and from the 14th century, Tibetan Buddhism became popular, perhaps thanks to its shamanistic elements. Islam was also widely adopted in the Western Khanates. Above all, though there was a widespread belief in the principal two deities, the earth or mother goddess known as Itujin, who represented fertility, and Tengri, which is the blue sky or eternal heaven. This latter deity was seen as protector god, and crucially he was thought by the tribal elites to have given the Mongol people a divine right to rule the entire world. Genghis Khan and his successors would put this idea into devastating practice by conquering almost all the entire continent of Asia and creating the largest empire ever seen up to that time in history. The Mongol nomadic tribes were then used to a tough lives, were highly mobile by nature and were trained from childhood to ride horses and shoot bows. The qualities would make them into excellent warriors, able to endure long and complex campaigns, cover vast amount of territory in a short space of time, and survive on only the absolute minimum of supplies. Even the role of women and the chores of camp making and transportation helped the Mongol army as they provided the vital logistic support for their husband warriors. Genghis Khan was perhaps the first Mongol leader to realize that if only the various tribes and clans could be united, the Mongols could master the world. Mongols, tribal leader had traditionally achieved and then maintained a strong position of power by distributing war booty amongst their loyal followers, and Genghis was no different. The Mongol army was based around a core 10,000 men, which was the Khan's personal bodyguard. Members of this elite would also hold key administrative positions across the empire. Additional troops were gained through conscription of the Mongol tribes and contingents from allies and conquered territories. The main offensive weapon was the light cavalry, with its riders expert at firing the powerful Mongol composite bow. Mongol horses were another asset, both for their sturdiness and stamina, but also their sheer numbers, allowing riders up to 16 spare mounts, which meant an army could travel huge distance with great speed. Genghis had decreed that his empire was to be divided amongst his four sons, Joji, Chagatai, Tolui, and Ogadai, with each ruling a Khanate. Joji would predecease his father. Ogadai became the new Great Khan, and thus ruler of all the Mongols. The unified empire would endure until 1260 AD, when the four Khanates became fully autonomous.